Welcome back to Gun Tote Minnesotan. Today I'm going to be reviewing a product sent out to the channel by Vanguard. This is their Endeavor L303 CGM full-size carbon fiber shooting tripod with gun mount clamp. This retails for right around $479 and it can sometimes be had for a little less. It comes with a bowl mechanism with a 15-degree range of movement to follow your target, legs with easy twist locks and height reference marks to help you set up quickly and precisely, Arca Swiss base with a 3/8 or 1/4 inch thread hole for mounting an extra tripod support arm. It's useful for adding like a smartphone or digiscope kit for video. Padded shoulder carry strap included. It's got a large knob to adjust the GM70 clamp from 30mm to 70mm. That fits most firearms and even some crossbows. It has a max load of 33 pounds. That's what you can put on top of it. Inside the GM70 clamp, it's got some like rubber padding that's going to grab onto gear and stocks really well. It has 3 adjustable leg angles for standing, kneeling, or prone positions. That's 23, 50, and 80 degrees. It also comes with rubber and spiked feet. They are both integral. They're built into the system. I think it's a fantastic way to build an all-terrain type tripod like this. Now I'm going to jump into some of the features and then some of the use, and this is a two-parter, so make sure you hang around for part 2. So obviously it gets plenty tall, and if you need to reduce height or change angles for any particular reason, you have these right here, and I'll come in a little closer so you can see. You have these, so instead of lifting or grabbing at these like some tripods where you have to manually try to grab that, the downside of that is when ice and water and stuff gets in those mechanisms, sometimes they're hard to push. So what they've done at Vanguard to overcome that issue is there's a button. This button right here is actually a mechanism to depress and then release that clamp. So even if there were a little bit of water or ice to get stuck in there, I could press that and it mechanically is going to force it out, and so I can get it locked into a leg position there. As you can see, there's multiple leg positions. So here's your typical carry position. You're not going to use that for shooting. That's just how it's going to be stored. And so there's your first position. There's your second position and a third position. Back down to starting. Something else very worthwhile to mention would be on the lower legs, you have these inch markers. And so you could mark those with a marker or remember, write it down if you need to get an equal set on each of the last portion of legs that goes right into the feet. This is a really good feature because a lot of tripods just don't have that and you're left guessing or trying to get it close. And with this, you can just go right to the marker. And like I said, I'm going to mark them myself for two different positions. One, for the standing position, just knowing how far down I want to have it, which is right here. It's going to be this marker. So every time I deploy these, I can just go right up to the marker that I have remembered or written on. I can set it there, and each leg is going to go there, and it's going to be the perfect height for me, which is really important. Normally tripods are a little too short. This one actually gets very, very tall. And then the other setting is going to be my sitting, like kind of squatting position, which is right here. And so I'll be able to mark both of those lines, and I'll just know every time I set it up, I can take it out and deploy it quickly. And just get right to the right spot on each one of those legs. Very cool. Some of the important features here I want to show you regarding the clamp and the head. First of all, when I throw in my rifle, okay, there's a nice rubbery gummy texture here. I'm just gonna twist this over so you can see. There's a nice rubbery gummy texture. This right here is actually what frees up the head to move and can't, and it's got a fair amount so you can balance this out and get it leveled. But inside, this texture, this grip, is pretty aggressive. Not like it would mar up anything, it's a rubberized coating, but it's aggressive as in I think as it depresses, it actually grips your rifle better. So I'm not concerned at all, not even a little bit, of my rifle falling out of this. It seems pretty firm. The clamping width is extreme. This goes very, very far compared to most of the clamp heads that I've even seen. That's a really wide rifle. I just can't think of too many non-bench rest rifles that would even need that much, so you should be fine that way. And then similarly, this head which runs on a stainless steel bolt in here, by the way. Good quality aluminum and stainless components. This is like a pretty rugged head. This is also super narrow. There are not many, maybe some lever guns, some old lever guns that I've seen. Maybe this would be, you know, what they would need. But I'm gonna say most rifles, you're not gonna have an issue finding a tightness here. I think most of the rifles I own are gonna be somewhere in that neighborhood. And clamping strength is good. The wheel itself that I'm grabbing now, it's rubberized. Everything on here is just comfortable in general. It's really made for hunters, I think, maybe competition shooters as well, but it's got a lot of the comforts that you would need in a cold hunting condition like where I'm at right now. So I'm gonna level this out and just show you, actually I'll turn it over. I'm gonna show you that this oversized wheel here doesn't get in the way of anything else that I'm operating. I've had some that had a wheel or a crank and it interfered, and this one does not. This one is just able to freely spin and do exactly what it's supposed to do. Okay, let's move back to this right here. So this mechanism is going to loosen and tighten, and all that's doing is freeing up this mount right here. It actually runs on a kind of like a bowl inside here, and this mount is actually removable. The mount itself, you can go ahead and move this so you can see inside there, it's actually got an Arca plate built into the bottom of it. I don't plan on taking it off right now because I like it a lot in the configuration it's in. The factory configuration is very, very good. But if I needed to, I could take this off and then I could go ahead and put on a tripod that maybe, or a tripod head rather, like a ball head that has Arca. If I needed to go direct Arca to my rifle, that's something I could probably do. But this right here is pretty strong. And within this bowl, go ahead and set this up again. Within this bowl, you're not going to be able to see it from your angle you're at right now, but I can. There's a bubble level in here. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Right there. So when I'm open, when the clamp is open, I can look down in there and see if my head, this part right here, is actually level. And that's important because 1 degree off at 100 yards, I believe, is like an inch off, something like that. So it makes a difference, guys, especially if you're hunting. I know this is probably recent information for some people, but if you're off on your angle and it's not level, you're gonna be off on your shot and you're gonna make an unethical shot perhaps. So that's an important feature. I'm really glad that they were thinking forward and included that on the actual bowl and mounting base. Another feature I like is that it has either a 3/8 or a 1/4 inch, this is an adapter, the 1/4 inch adapter in here, but a socket there so it can add in some of my accessories. Sometimes I use a magic arm or something to hold for a camera, or maybe my Caldwell wind meter, maybe my phone. Sometimes I put a phone mount off to the side, or if you're going to use a Kestrel, you could mount it up to the side and get your ballistic information right up there next to your face by your rifle. That would be pretty cool. And that right there is something that I'm just recently starting to see in tripods, and it's a really good idea. I wish that all tripods had the features that this one does, actually. So generally, these leg portions that are carbon fiber, I think these are combination legs and materials. So there's like aluminum and carbon fiber and a little bit of stainless steel in there. These legs are set just a little bit longer than some other ones that try to be really compact, and that's because this needs to be the master of many things. And so it's longer because you can deploy it and kind of get into a kneeling position or a sitting position just with this natural leg length from the first position. A lot of people, it's going to work okay to go squatting and sitting with a second position. I'm a little taller, so maybe not so much for me, but a lot of people that's going to work well. And also deployment, you know, there's only 2 pulls here, and I think that's beneficial, especially in a rapid engaging situation where I need to shoot something quickly. I would rather just have 2 to work with, especially considering that this one has the measurements, you know, built into the bottom portion of the legs. When I'm going to transport it, I actually back the rubber back to where it's blocking the spike feet. I really like that I don't have to switch out the spike feet, that they're just integral to the design, and that the rubber itself is always an option there if I need it. I don't want to mar up like my floors in my house or if I'm at a competition, they have concrete and they don't really want spike feed against the concrete. It's nice to be able to just quickly modify that and have that ready to go. And then again, it's Minnesota, it's cold. You can see I have a glove on, and I actually have multiple coats and layers on. This right here, every tripod should come with something like this built in. I'm so glad that Vanguard, again, is thinking about the end user. They're thinking about the customers, the people who actually use this stuff, like hunters. And they're going out in inclement weather where it's rainy or it's very, very cold. And having this right here, you know, it's thermal resistance is better than the carbon fiber with a cold. It's just not as cold to hold on to. It's warmer to the touch. It's comfortable. You can get a good grip on it versus this. When this is wet, it's just a little slippery. And then when this is in my hand, you know, it's not cold. I don't feel like I need to put it down right away and warm up my hands, and it's not slippery altogether. It's fixed. It's in a fixed position, and it doesn't stand out. It's not really bright or anything like that. So this was a really good thought process to make this integral to the tripod itself and not like an aftermarket part that you have to buy later. It just comes with the tripod. Another feature worth mentioning is that this piece here, you're gonna thread this in when you get it from the box. When they send it to you, you're gonna thread that in yourself. And it's actually two pieces there that move independently. So you're gonna thread in the bottom, but this top piece here moves independently. The reason that that matters is you're gonna attach something like this, and you don't want it to unthread itself. So it will not. It's not gonna unthread itself. It's not gonna back out with use or temperature, I don't believe. And you have this sling, which I'm always moving around from leg to leg, and it's not always consistent the way I carry it. So it's nice this moves with it, as well as when I carry a backpack or a weight, something like that, I can attach it to this and not worry that it's going to actually back out the threading there. All right, so here's an example of a time where I have to carry all my stuff up to the firing line even, and having this sling on here is super useful because otherwise I'm trying to barrel carry it or carry it like a bunch of lumber, and it's just not convenient. So the sling option is very, very useful. And in fact, I can have my tripod set up exactly to the height that I need it to. So I'm going to go ahead and head down range. We're going to do a little bit at 530 with 22 on a windy day on a small target. I'm going to shoot at some clays. I'm going to miss a lot in what I'm about to do here, but the purpose is more to test the gear, the setup, and not so much precision on a windy day with the 22 at 530 yards, but definitely fun and enjoyable. And I'm super thankful for this strap and the markings on the legs so that I can just have it set up ready to go, less monkey business and more serious shooting time. All right, sorry that you're way down there. I left my other tripod back at the car. Set this up. Man, I specialize in shooting in just miserable conditions, the worst weather. I should be like a pretty decent shooter by now, I think. Only shooting on cold, windy, wet, snowy days. Oh my gosh. That's what I gotta do. All right, I apologize about the semi-awkward angle, not having another tripod set up. But here we go. I'm gonna get this going at 530 yards, and I have 10 rounds left. I better make the most of these 10 rounds. And one more thing, just because I can, attach my bag to this. A little more weight on the tripod. There's no recoil from the 22 really, but just steadiness in general. Normally I put a bag or something under my knee, under my leg, to get that bone support, like elbow to knee, but I think for this time I'm just gonna add the weight directly to this. All right, one more time. So I dialed 28 mils, and I need to hold another 5 in that territory. It's not 100% clear with the temperature what it's going to end up being. We'll just have to see if I can spot it with this 5 to 25, and I believe I will be able to. It'll be fighting wind. I'm going to level the tripod one more time. Very easy feature. This is a real natural spot for my hand to come up and grab the level and operate on this without monkeying around with the rest of the rifle up here. I can just get the whole base to move and level out. That's a nice feature. And here we go. There it is. Okay. So I was closer to 6.5 and 1.5 mils of hold. Okay. So I'm going for the clay. I'll put the center crosshairs. Okay, right there. That's the clay that I'm going for, but I have to hold 6+ mils on top of the 28 mils. And some wind. I'm going to go a little more. I think that's a little high. Okay, elevation, I mean, I'm going to have some standard deviation problems there. I've got one bullet left. I'm going to have some standard deviation problems there, but I do think that overall, let's get that to focus. I think overall, I can see my misses. I can see, you know, if I did get an impact, I would see it. I have one bullet left. I'm going to wait for the wind to die off here a little bit. And let's go ahead and send it. Okay, that was a miss. A little too windy to shoot this far right now, and especially on a clay pigeon. I think a couple of those shots would have been on my full-size IDPA, obviously. I may come back and try a little bit more of this when the wind tames out, if the wind tames out tonight. The sun is out, it's really nice, and I do have some 6.5 Creedmoor I need to be shooting right now for another project, but I'm really, really liking the Vanguard tripod. It's kind of set up the way that I would always need it. It has the versatility, and it has the features that everybody's going to want, I think, for an actual functional outdoors shooting tripod, especially in a hunting scenario. Man, am I solid shooting off that thing. And getting it to present in the orientation I have it right now, just being one click out on the angulature, it's so steady. It doesn't run into problems, you know, like it's not taking up extra space. And I think the carbon fiber legs are definitely taking some of that vibration out of it, which is really cool. It's a neat byproduct of carbon fibers. They tend to take out some of the vibration. And man, I'm wishing I had a more steady day to shoot, but it's pretty fun to shoot 22 past 500 yards. You get to start playing around a lot with wind, and it will help you read flags. If you have wind flags at your range, it'll help you read those flags even better. That's an impact. There's an impact. There's an impact. Another impact. I'm definitely seeing my misses, but I backed off in magnification power here because of just darkness in general, and I needed a lighter image. So just to make some of this work for the channel, some of the things I have to do is get my scope cam situated right on the rifle, which does takes a little bit of work. It doesn't always want to meet up just right and sometimes the rings interfere. There's a couple things there. I have to get the right ammo. I have to make sure I remember my ammo, which I've forgotten before. Getting my spotter set up. Thankfully, I have recently, last month, I've been using this Vanguard, and this is a 20 to 60 from them, and this spotter, I'm not going to say it solves all problems for everyone, but for me, it solved a significant amount of issues I was having with just setup time and camera. So I actually use their VO PA65, and this I can strap my phone into. I can hook it up, ratchet it down on the eyepiece here, get it focused, and I'm pretty much ready to film right there, which has been enormous, just so I can show people actual real world impacts, have a little evidence behind the groups that I'm talking about. But as a backup, when I shoot paper, I always have my long shot target camera, and this is another thing I have to set up. So all in all, before I pull a trigger at 800 or 1,000 on my channel, I've probably got 3 hours invested into getting gear together, travel time, setting up flags, different distances, targets, dealing with other people. Sometimes people have a lot of questions about gear. And yeah, it's hours, man. But I'm not complaining. I'm enjoying it. It's just a lot of work. I almost forgot. The whole reason I was bringing that up was every time I find something that makes my job a little easier, whether that be in a hunting scenario or recording for my channel or just shooting in general, when I find something that makes it easier, I definitely hop on that and I want to give it high praise. So like this tripod system that I'm using from Vanguard, the tripod, the shooting rest tripod, and a couple other little units here or there, the remote clicker, the Bluetooth clicker. I mean, just all this stuff has made it so much easier for me to shoot and film in different scenarios. I feel like I can just get the trifecta here. If I carry with me my 3 Vanguard items right now, I've got a pair of binos, a spotter, and a tripod, and then also another tripod. If I carry that stuff with me, I can pretty much always be guaranteed that I can take care of what I need to in the field, whether I'm shooting hunting, sport shooting competition. It just kind of covers all the bases with that package right there. It was a very, very, very good thing to take into the channel and start reviewing.